FM. This is World News. My name is Esther Mwachuku. First off, the top stories. Court rejects DSS bid to readmit rejected exhibits against Dasuki. Varsity lecturers respond to federal government's no work, no pay threats. Senate sets up 12-man committee to counter U.S. genocide claims against Nigeria. Labour Party crisis deepens as Aburi Farouk attend INEC meeting. Kidnapped Southern Kaduna Ekwa pastor Anthony Lamba dies in terrorist captivity. ADC cautions National Assembly over moving 2027 elections to 2026. And Trump speaks on reversal with Israel and Hamas. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The news begins with this very recent development where the Federal High Court in Abuja dismissed an application by the Department of State Services seeking to represent exhibits earlier rejected by the trial of the former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki over alleged unlawful possession of firearms. Justice Peter Lifu, in a ruling on the DSS motion filed by its lead counsel Oladipupo Okpesheyi, held that the court could not admit the same exhibits it had previously rejected. At the last hearing, on September 25, Okpesheyi had asked the court to move its proceedings to the DSS headquarters in Abuja to inspect vehicles allegedly recovered from Dasuki's residence during the 2015 execution of a search warrant. He explained that the vehicles had been parked at the DSS headquarters for 10 years and should be inspected by the court to facilitate their admission as exhibits against the defendant. However, when Justice Lifu sought clarification of the exhibits, Okpesheyi said there were items numbered 18 to 28 on the search warrant, all recovered from Dasuki's Abuja home. When reminded that the same items had been rejected and marked accordingly, the DSS counsel argued that he had the right to represent them for admission. Now, relying on various authorities, Okpesheyi contended that the exhibits were earlier rejected only because a proper foundation for their admission had not been laid at the time. He maintained that the deficiency had now been corrected and that the rejection was not based on irrelevance to the trial, urging the court to grant his request. But Dasuki's counsel, A.A. Usman, opposed the application, describing it as strange and unknown to law. Usman argued that once an exhibit has been rejected and marked as such, it stands rejected and cannot be readmitted by the same court. He insisted that Justice Lifu could not revisit the issue through the back door, noting that in a July 10 ruling, the judge had already declared the exhibits irrelevant to the charge and therefore inadmissible. He submitted that the only lawful step open to the DSS was to appeal the earlier ruling rather than inviting the same judge to sit as an appellate court over its own decision. Urging the court to dismiss the motion, Usman described it as baseless, ill-conceived, misplaced, unwarranted, and a ploy to turn back the hands of the clerk. In his ruling, Justice Lifu reaffirmed that the exhibits remain rejected, having been found inadmissible for lack of relevance and proper foundation. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has dismissed the federal government's no work, no pay directive, insisting that the union will not be intimidated by threats. ASUU President Chris Piwuna stated this while speaking on a Monitor television program. He said the union remains united and will not succumb to what he described as the government's attempt to divide the academic community. Piwuna stated that all academic bodies, such as the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics and the Congress of Nigerian University Academics, were standing together in support of the strike. Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, is with us. The polytechnics and colleges of education are also with us. End quote. The ASUU president advised the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, to focus on resolving the ongoing dispute instead of issuing threats. Piwuna also hinted that the union remained open to dialogue and was ready to engage with the federal government. The 2-week warning strike declared by the Academic Staff Union of Universities has taken effect across public universities in Nigeria, disrupting final semester examinations. VOB News gathered that some institutions reported partial compliance, while others have been completely shut down, with students stranded and expressing fears of delay in graduation. The industrial action, which commenced yesterday, follows the expiry of a 14-day ultimatum issued to the federal government to address lingering issues affecting the university system. These issues include unpaid earned academic allowances, withheld salary, and the non-implementation of renegotiated agreements. The Nigerian Senate constituted a 12-member ad hoc committee to advise the legislature on how to respond to growing international concerns over alleged United States-backed claims of persecution of Christians in the country. This decision followed a closed-door session on Tuesday where lawmakers deliberated on recent claims by the United States government suggesting possible acts of genocide targeting Christians in some parts of Nigeria. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who announced the formation of the committee, said the team would develop a comprehensive position paper to be presented to both the executive and the Senate. The document, he noted, must be backed by verifiable facts and statistics. Members of the committee include Senators Victor Ume, Yemi Adaramodu, Ania Kombasi, Niyi Adegbunire, Abdul Ningi, Titus Zam, Tony Nwunye, Tahir Mungono, and Asokwa Ekbayong, amongst others. The Senate move came amid increasing diplomatic scrutiny and the potential implications of such allegations on Nigeria's global reputation and interfaith relations. Earlier, the upper chamber resolved to engage with the United States to address and counter what it described as misleading narratives portraying the country's security challenges as a Christian genocide. The resolution followed a motion raised by Senator Ali Ndumi, which sparked a broader debate amongst lawmakers on the international perception of Nigeria's internal security issues. Now, the crisis rocking the Labour Party took a new twist today as factional National Chairman Julius Saburi and factional National Secretary Umar Faruk Ibrahim were cited at the quarterly consultative meeting between political parties and the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja today. Now, a photograph of the duo participating in the meeting as Labour Party leaders was circulated by the faction's National Publicity Secretary Obiora Ifo. The meeting, which is a routine engagement between the electoral umpire and political parties, brings together recognized national chairmen and secretaries of the various parties to discuss electoral processes and preparations. It remains unclear whether the Nanadi Usman and Darlington Nwokocha-led Interim National Committee of the Labour Party, which had been laying claim to the party's leadership, was also in attendance. INEC meeting was presided by the acting chairman of the Electoral Commission, Mayor Agbamuche Umbu. The meeting is part of a series of stakeholder consultations ahead of the Anambra governorship election scheduled for November. The meeting is designed to allow INEC and party officials thrash out grey areas, fine-tune logistics, strengthen collaboration to ensure a smooth electoral process. This marks the first meeting presided over by Agbamuche Umbu since she took over on October 7. Now, the Evangelical Church Winning All Ekwa has confirmed the death of one of its pastors, Reverend Anthony Lamba, who was abducted by bandits or terrorists in southern Kaduna. In a statement signed by Reverend Alari, chairman of Ekwa Kasuwa Magani District Church Council, the church expressed grief over this development, saying, "With deep sorrow, we announce the passing of Reverend Anthony Lamba, who was kidnapped on July 24th, 2025, along with his wife. Lamba was reportedly kidnapped along with Christiana Anthony and Della Mizana while working on their farm on Friday, July 25. In a similar incident as well, on October 2, on a Thursday, terrorists ravaging communities in Kwara State have brutally killed Reverend James Audu Isa, an Ekwa pastor, despite collecting millions of naira from his distressed family in ransom. The cleric was abducted from Ekati village in Patigi local government area around August 28, 2025. His family, church and community members struggled for weeks to meet the abductors' demands in the hope of securing his release. The gunmen initially demanded 100 million naira for his freedom. After tense negotiations, the ransom was reduced to 5 million naira, which was eventually paid by the impoverished community in a desperate attempt to save the pastor. However, after receiving the 5 million, the terrorists displayed extreme cruelty by demanding an additional 45 million naira. Before any further negotiations could be made, they killed the cleric. Now, the African Democratic Congress has cautioned the National Assembly against its proposed amendment that may move the 2027 general elections to November 2026. In a statement signed by its Publicity Secretary, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, the party warned that such movement could undermine governance in the country. It argued that advancing the election date would push Nigeria into a perpetual campaign cycle, shorten the effective period for governance, disrupt development planning, and further weaken institutional focus. The ADC urged lawmakers to abandon the idea and instead pursue genuine electoral and judicial reforms that ensure credible elections and timely resolution of disputes without undermining governance stability. The ADC stated that while the intent is to provide more time for the resolution of election petitions before the inauguration of a new administration, it believes that this amendment risks creating deeper problems for Nigeria's democracy than it seeks to solve. You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We took a very short break. When we return, we'll take more news and we'll head into our news analysis segment. Do kindly stay with us. Welcome back. This is still the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Thank you for staying with us. The ruling All Progressives Congress has solidified its dominance in the National Assembly by attaining a two-thirds majority in the Senate, a crucial advantage that strengthens its control over legislative affairs. The new balance of power follows the defection of Senator Samaila Kila, who represents Bauchi North Senatorial District, from the opposition People's Democratic Party to the APC. His move was officially announced through a letter read by Senate President Godswill Akpabio during Tuesday's plenary. With Kila's defection, the APC's presence in the 109-member Senate has grown to 73 seats, meeting the constitutional threshold required to pass significant or contentious legislation with ease. The achievement also reflects the voting strength mandated by Sections 143 and 188 of the 1999 Constitution for presidential and gubernatorial impeachment processes. VOP News actually gathered that this is the first time since the party assumed power in 2015 that it has attained a two-thirds majority in the upper chamber, underscoring its increasing consolidation of political influence. The APC held 59 seats as at the June 13, 2023, when the 10th Senate was newly inaugurated. Currently, the Senate now stands: All Progressives Congress, APC, 73 seats; People's Democratic Party, 27 seats; Labour Party, 4 seats; All Progressives Grand Alliance, 2 seats; Social Democratic Party, 2 seats; New Nigeria People's Party, 1 seat. Meanwhile, as the nation bemoans, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has actually explained why he was missing at the recent Council of State meeting presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Wike said his absence had nothing to do with politics or disagreement, but with prior official duties he had already committed to. Speaking today during the Commission of Access Roads in Sector B, Dakibiu's district, Abuja, the former Rivers governor said he had duly informed the president beforehand. According to him, he also instructed the Minister of State for the FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmood, to attend the meeting on his behalf. The Council of State meeting was held on Thursday, October 9, 2025. It saw the president nominate Professor Joash Amukwita as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, pending Senate confirmation. Now reacting to speculations that he boycotted the meeting because his preferred nominee was not picked, Wike dismissed the claims as propaganda and blackmail. The minister also dismissed rumors of a rift between him and President Tinubu, insisting that his loyalty to the president remains intact. I currently have right here in the studio Mr. Dele Fanimo, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator. A couple of you may actually not agree with his purview on some instances, but then we actually disagree to agree. Mr. Dilly Fanimo, good evening, and thank you for joining us on the World News at 6 today. How are you?
Good evening, Esther. You have even preempted me.
How did I preempt you, sir? We disagree to agree, don't we? We mustn't all agree all the time.
What if I decide to disappoint you by agreeing with all your postulations?
Then my postulations. No,
Yes.
I ask you questions.
Okay, go ahead.
They are not my postulations.
Okay.
They're basically what a couple of Nigerians may think the situation is. Then we clarify or we educate ourselves in here.
No problem.
Now, Mr. Dilly Fanimo, the National Assembly is proposing that general election should be shifted to November 2026. The plan is whatever is the model that is involved with post-election processes, all of the court rulings, tribunals set, and everything will be properly done before the official inaugural date of possibly May the following year. But a couple of opposition parties have come heavily against it, that it's undermining our democratic process. What's your thought on that?
You see, for me, it's the best thing that will happen to Nigeria.
Why would you say it's the best? And remember that there are other aspects of the electoral reform that ought to be given first-hand priority and not this. When elections should be handled.
We're just starting. Now, don't you know how much we lose to litigations in the process of having somebody being sworn in, then 6 months, 3 months later, is taken out of government. And then you have to start another process of inauguration and all that. So it's
But it has never happened for presidential elections, though, has it?
Yes, but
has
someday
never
you see, law is made in anticipation of what is not happening now.
Okay.
That could happen in future. You don't wait until something happens in future before you begin to set up another machinery in motion to amend the law.
Okay.
You amend in anticipation of what is likely to be. So, what we are saying is, if you have been declared the winner of an election,
Okay.
between when you are declared and when you be sworn in, whatever litigation you want to handle at that period, you would have exhausted up to the last stage, the terminal stage, which is Supreme Court.
Okay, so let me...
That's one.
Okay.
2, there won't be undue advantage of somebody who had been sworn in to contend with an outsider that would have to spend his hard-earned money against you that you have been sworn in, even when you know that you are not likely to scale through the order of the court. Now, you are going to use state resources, both human and material. You are going to intimidate the opponent, and it could also alter the position of the judges for those ones that are corrupt. But that is not going to happen anymore. So you get your verdict, and even if it is 180 days window, and with the new date set for election, you have 185 days.
All right, Mr. Dilly Fanimo, there are talks right now that possibly because the APC feels it has an advantage. The idea is if you reduce the timing of the elections, they have an upper hand. With currently what is going on, the opposition seems fragmented. Primaries will be decided, will commence on June. By January 2026, all the political talks, proclamations, everything will come up. Those who are vying for one political party or the other will begin to indicate what they want to do and their interests officially. It's not like we have not been hearing, but it will be official now. And by June, primaries will commence. So let's just say that this aspect of the electoral reform is being implemented. If primaries will be in June, you're expecting for elections to take place in November. Currently, as it stands, we really don't have any active opposition political party. So a couple of Nigerians feel that the APC think they are at an advantage, and so right now if they conduct elections at all levels they will win, and this is one of their machinations by having to talk about this aspect of the reform and advocate for it now. What's your take on that?
You see, this thing is just simple. The analogy is, you started a 100 meters race, and you see somebody ahead of you who had prepared, who had trained, and you are now telling the umpire, please help me hold him down so that I can catch up with him. How does that happen? This is sheer illogical conclusion. Why don't you put your house in order? You still have over a year to put your house in order. What stops you from putting your house in order? You still have, how many months did APC transform to win election in 2015? How many years? It took them 5 years. PDP was already on ground. APC came and routed PDP. Why didn't they complain about that now? The same people that were in PDP that crossed to APC, that they couldn't take care of their interest in APC, that went back to ADC, are the same people that are complaining. Why are we not interrogating individuals that are making statements so that we remind them of their previous actions and inactions?
Bolaji Abdullahi is one person that is criticizing this and saying that Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC spokesperson, he's one of the
same Bolaji Abdullahi that made so much fortune from PDP. Is not the same Bolaji Abdullahi that was SA to Saraki in Kwara State, later minister under PDP? What are you talking about? Mention another person, and I'll tell you his antecedents.
A couple of opponents, some PDP stalwarts as well, they are not reacting positively to this.
The point is, why did you not put your house in order? Your opponent will not come and assist you to put your house in order. It is game for me if I know that my opponents are in disarray. And Tinubu said it's much. So what are you going to talk about? You are saying that somebody should wait for you in a race that only one person will brace the tape? It will even do more damage to you so that you won't be able to even complete the race. It is for you to find a way of making sure whoever gave APC any chance when they came up with CPC, ACN and all the groups, whoever gave them the chance, let them go. There is still enough time for them to put their house together. How many months did Peter Obi grab the Labour Party from comatose to become a leading contender in a presidential race? So what are we talking about? Oh, whatever they are saying, they are just crying wolf where there is none. They are just sounding in the red herring. Okay. It doesn't hold waters.
It doesn't hold water.
Yes.
Well, as it stands now, the Real Progressives Congress has actually solidified its dominance in the National Assembly by attaining a 2/3 majority in the Senate. This actually presupposes that they are at a crucial advantage and that it has control over legislative affairs. Now, Mr. Dele Fanimo, there are talks by the opposition political parties who are now considered to be the minority political party in the National Assembly that they usually are bullied when it comes to them asking or requesting for funds within their constituencies. Sometimes it is deliberately delayed compared to their counterparts who already dominate the National Assembly. And these are one of the things that are used to supposedly strategically tell them to defect to the ruling party. So you now have almost 73 or 75 APC members, which is constitutionally required to actually impeach any person in the National Assembly. That's one. Two, when it comes to carriage of passing of bills, making decisions, they now have the solid voice. Right now, opposition is at a major minority because the opposition is about 29, not even half of 70 something that is the APC. So where does this take us? This is the first time the APC is actually having this. Do you see with this semantic already at play that 2027 is already a done deal for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? That's one. Two, if at all it's not a done deal for him, if you have majority of the APC members in the National Assembly, whoever emerges that is not the APC would deliberately be frustrated having the majority dominate the National Assembly.
The fact that APC has 74, 75, which constitutes 2/3 majority in the House, does not mean that all of them will return to the National Assembly in the next election. They're still going to fight for their tickets. They're still going to fight for election. It's not automatic.
Normally, when they're making agreements with the APC, a couple of them who defected, their promises that I will be your sole candidate for re-election. What if that is what necessitated the defection?
Have you ever seen a politician holding firm to his promise. Winston Churchill, the statesman in the United Kingdom, said, we politicians, we don't even believe ourselves. Why would the electorate believe us at that level? So what makes you think that it will be automatic? That's why they say 24 hours is too long a day in politics. So I take it with a pinch of salt. But the whole idea is these people were never true to the political platform. Mark my word, political platforms
that brought them
to the National Assembly. You know how many Labour Party card carrying member
unknown that emerged on the way.
Okada rider from Kaduna South.
He's now an APC member.
He came to the National Assembly, and in less than 1 month or two, they gave him 160 million naira SUV. Did he reject it? Constituency allowance had been given to him. Did you hear anything from him? So if he is now crossing, did APC put rope around his neck? As at the time he was contesting, he saw a platform that was solid enough to take him to the National Assembly, and against all odds, he just did this permutation like a post-bet person, and eventually he emerged against his own expectation. It happened in 2003 when PDP was to sweep the Southwest. They were practically begging people to come and take PDP ticket. Nobody was ready to take because AD was the dominant party. That was how some street urchins, area boys, emerged state house of assembly members in all the states in the Southwest except Lagos. So what are you going to tell me? You see, most times when you blame APC, you blame this, you blame that, I laugh.
Well, the opposition will always blame, because
that's what I'm saying. I laugh. It's not logical
to disintegrate all the opposition parties.
Listen,
and then there are fears that some prominent members who were supposedly obviously set to have won 2023 elections aside President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have actually lost whatever support they've had, possibly because of the infiltration of the APC within their political parties, by causing rancor, by causing some form of division within the political parties, and literally entrenching a sense of uncertainty within those political parties, which has obviously decentralized them. So in other words, APC having the upper hand.
Would you live in a place close to the bush and then open your main gate, snake crossing and bite you? Is it the snake you blame, or you blame yourself for not properly securing your premises? No, tell me, are you going to blame the snake? The snake saw an opportunity and an opening. It went inside, and somehow suddenly you just appear, and it feels it can strike, and the snake bites. How will you now blame the snake? Ordinarily, when you know that you are close to the bush, you make sure you secure your surroundings, so that even when you are sleeping, you are sleeping with your two eyes closed. You are sleeping tight. So if all these people that are shouting and complaining and playing victim, they were once the ones doing this to other people when it was convenient for them. Did Amaechi not do it in Rivers? Did Atiku not do it in PDP? Was he not part of the people that were saying that PDP will spend 60 years in government? Was Dekima not the same person that said communication, telephoning was not for the poor? Because it was convenient for him to say that
at the time.
So what are we talking about? These same people before election, don't be surprised, like somebody like David Mark may even cross back to APC.
You think so?
Why not? Is there any law stopping him from? Anybody in PDP now or ADC can cross, and you have every reason according to the electoral law that this is why I am crossing.
All right, let's look at this. There's another twist in the situation with the Labour Party. Now, we thought that INEC has been able to uphold the CTC judgment of the Supreme Court concerning delisting Julius Aburi. So, Julius Aburi is no longer the Labour Party chairman. But today, in a meeting that was held this afternoon, because we're meant to have Omoyele Sowore join us for matters, but he was in this particular meeting that Julius Aburi was also seen along with Umar Farouk, who is the factional national secretary of the Labour Party. They were cited at the quarterly consultative meeting between political parties and the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja. This is the first of its kind under May Agbamuche. The idea is to thrash out issues and ensure that the upcoming Anambra elections, there will be no glitches or hitches or whatever. So at this point in time, what does it mean? Because we don't know. We thought the Nenadu Usman committee would be the official representation of the Labour Party, but Julius Aburi was there. So does this further deepen the imbroglio of the Labour Party? And does it literally tell us that the Labour Party is now considered a no-no as a political party to be considered that Peter Obi will run with?
Now, that meeting does not preclude anybody from attending.
Okay, anyone can attend.
Yeah,
any political party member can
yes.
attend. Okay.
The invitation was not restricted. But the only thing that will make me feel uncomfortable about the appearance of Aburi and Farouk is if they were duly recognized in the list of protocol by Agbamuche Mbu, saying the national chairman of Labour Party, Mr. Julius Aburi, is here seated and he stands up and they clap. His national secretary, Umar Farouk, is also here. That's when trouble will start. But if that place is not strictly by invitation, as a politician, as a free Nigerian,
so
if it's allowed,
so
I don't see anything until maybe tomorrow, if I now get full gist of happenings in that meeting, that it was duly recognized by INEC along with his secretary. That's when we'll now begin to interrogate this.
All right, finally, before I let you go, Reno Mokri, controversial Reno Mokri, who was a former presidential aide, has accused the United States of being behind Nigeria's long-standing terrorism crisis. According to Reno Mokri, the United States has been behind the long-standing terrorism crisis affecting Nigeria. According to Reno Mokri, he made this claim, I think, on a Monday with Primetime on Arise News Television. He said that America's foreign policy under former President Barack Obama directly triggered the insecurity now ravaging Nigeria and the Sahel region, and that there is a moral responsibility on the United States because this problem of terrorism was brought to the doorstep of Nigeria by Barack Obama. And he explained that the U.S. intervention in Libya led to the downfall of Muammar Gaddafi, which in turn scattered well-armed mercenaries across Africa. But here is the thing. Reno Mokri was speaking alongside two men that he supposedly invited. The men were meant to come and listen and get enlightened about the terrorism situation in Nigeria. You would recall that the Senate has approved a 12-man committee to visit the United States of America to reorient and educate them about the insecurity or terrorism-related situation in Nigeria. And one of the person on that television program, his name is Republican Mayor of the United States City of Blanco in Texas, Mike Arnold. And he mocked Nigeria for expressing anger over the United States' comments on terrorism in the country while still appealing for financial aid. So during that interview, he said that why is it that Nigeria does not want to speak on terrorism in the country but wants their money? He questioned the reason why a country like Nigeria that is rich in mineral has to seek for help from other nations. In other words, the insecurity in the country is deliberate for certain persons to continue to funnel funds from the United States of America, having to make Nigeria look like they're weak-kneed and they need the foreign intervention. What would you say in regards to this?
You see, if we must say this, we can't give direct answer in isolation of what has happened in the past.
Okay.
The Obama administration, because Jonathan refused to sign same-sex marriage, blocked our access to ASUU to the extent that a non-state actor had to fly out of this country with dollars to get arms from
South Africa.
South Africa.
And I recall they were also blocked at South Africa. Somebody informed them.
Yes. And so, period when this insurgency would have been contained, the denial of our access to firearms and ammunition, gave the terrorists undue advantage. Now, as it is today, there is no way you will cover those lost periods in a hurry. And then two, there is a double speak here. Why is America intervening in Israel-Palestine crisis?
Why wouldn't they intervene?
Just wait. And you are always talking about terrorism, and that anywhere you notice terrorism, you are going to hunt them down. Why are they not talking about Nigeria? Why? Which means that is more than meets the eye in this. And it's quite unfortunate. That's why the likes of Gumi, knowing very well how to exploit such gaps, will come and be telling a sovereign nation to acquiesce to non-state actors' demand, even giving subtle threat that they should not go after these people. Otherwise, the deal, which was illegal ab initio, may be ruptured. I mean, how does that sound? I've never seen anywhere in the world where blackmailers will be contented with whatever they extract from the person they are blackmailing, because they keep coming back. Give 5 states to terrorists today, they will ask for 10 additional one. Have they allowed peace to reign in those communities where they settle them with 25 million naira every month? At will, they kidnap their women, rape them, and throw them back to their community with the stigma and shame and all that. Are these the kind of people you want to negotiate with? It's really, really sad.
But it's actually happening in Kaduna. We saw them in their thousands, in their hundreds on bikes with arms. The residents were standing by while they were passing, with their weaponry. And the idea is they were trying to meet with the chairman to see how they can come to an impasse so that they stop attacking their community. You needed to see these men, very young boys with wielding weapons. And I'm shocked that the DSS or the Nigerian Army or the Air Force couldn't surround that area and do what is needed to be done. It's quite unfortunate, to be honest with you. The impression is not credible, and how Nigerians are perceiving this is terrible. For example, they seem to be toying on the path of Ahmed Gumi, who is advising that yes, they should do exactly what Israel is doing. They should negotiate with them for there to be peace, build houses for them, provide education for them. In other words, people can wake up in the morning to say, for us to curry the favor of the federal government, since they're afraid of us, let's get into this. They will call us and negotiate with us and then give us what we want free, plus the extra money we've collected by actually putting a lot of pressure and violence on innocent families.
You see, the drama around this insurgency, banditry is so complex.
Is it complex, Mr. Delifanimo?
It's complex.
What is complex about it? That there is lack of a political will.
That's what I'm saying.
As soon as possible,
because
or that because of politics, certain politicians don't
why
understand.
why I said it is complex is what will precipitate a government that swore to protect lives and property and ensure the welfare of the citizens of the state, to abdicate that responsibility and look the other way when Turji, that was chased out of Niger Republic, a small country compared to Nigeria, will come and become warlord in a country that is organized like Nigeria, and nothing is being done. And these people move freely. Security agents are tied down. It's just like if you hold a lion by the chain, dogs will ride over it.
Interesting. Mr. Dilifanimo, thank you very much. Currently, what would you think about Nigeria and I think Benin Republic? They're leading 3-0. Wouldn't you consider that good news?
It's not good news.
Why would you say so?
I even want them to lose that match.
Mr. Dilifanimo, you're not a patriotic Nigerian.
I can't be patriotic in
This
this.
is the only thing that'll give us recourse. Why?
It's even better to cover our shame at this level rather to turn us to basketball team in the World Cup proper.
Okay, so why don't you want them to win?
We had a chance of qualifying from the beginning. We lost almost 5 matches, and we are drawing matches with lesser football nations. Now, why is it that every year, every qualifier will now be doing permutation as somebody who's playing pool or bet Niger at the last minute?
You are promoting Bet Niger. They need to pay us for that.
honestly, I decided not to watch it.
Oh, really?
If they score 500 goals here and South Africa beats Rwanda 1-0, we are not going anywhere.
So the prayer nice for
and as at the last count, South Africa has scored.
South Africa has scored.
Yes. So South Africa is beating Rwanda.
Chai, so this game, even if we win,
And
it makes no difference.
it is even good for South Africa that we are beating Republic of Benin. So they will not be close to them. So South Africa will qualify.
So Nigeria will lose.
I beg, leave that
so even
matter.
this win now will not make any difference.
Let them score 500 goals.
Mr. Dilifanimo, thank you so much for being part of the World News.
It's always my
I do
pleasure.
appreciate your input. All right, and just before we go, let's look at stories outside the shores of Nigeria. Israel will reportedly not reopen the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt on Wednesday and will reduce the flow of aid into the territory. Israel media and Reuters news agency report that the decision came after Hamas returned just 4 of 28 Israeli hostages' bodies on Monday. The UN humanitarian chief warns Israel it must keep crossings into Gaza open in order for desperately needed aid to be delivered. Now, Tom Fletcher recently disclosed to correspondents that the ceasefire deal must be implemented in full by both sides and that Hamas has got to get the bodies home. The IDF says it has identified the bodies of the 4 hostages and they're named Goy Ilos, Bipin Joshi, Yossi Sharabi and Daniel Peretz. In Gaza, the Palestinian Civil Defense disclosed to reporters that 7 people have been killed by Israeli fire in 2 separate incidents, and Israel's military says it fired at people who had crossed the line where its troops have withdrawn to. And that's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wachiko. Good evening and thank you for listening. Do join us for the evening rush at 7 o'clock. We'll be speaking virtually with Mr. Omoyele Sowore, who is an activist, presidential candidate, as well as one you would call to be a controversial politician in Nigeria's political space. To kindly stay with us. Good evening.